Today is November 26, and this is The View with Catherine Chang. Today's topic is Taiwan announces 5 rules for U.S. pork with Ractopamine. After nearly 3 months of discussion, the Taiwanese government announces important policy for imports of U.S. pork with Ractopamine. And we know that Taiwan Premier Su Chang announced today that there are 5 guidelines for U.S. pork, including the inspection section, 查厂, which Taiwanese people care about most. I think this announcement should be able to resolve the conflict. Actually, the issue regarding U.S. pork with Ractopamine has to be solved as soon as possible, both for the ruling party, DPP, and for the opposition party, KMT. And this might also have related to the U.S. presidential election. Why? Here are some points. A. The executive yuan today passed the guidelines for imports of the U.S. pork with Ractopamine. There are 5 regulations, including inspections, border examinations, management, and the product labels. As to what Taiwanese people care about, the inspection section, we know that the executive yuan said that they will send people to the United States for on-site inspections of pork factories. Also, starting from January 1st, next year, newly applied company cannot sell the pork before the inspection section. I think this is a good approach, and the opposition party KMT shouldn't have any questions about it. B. The tricky question will be the product labels. KMT wants to have Ractopamine labels on the pork. However, the Minister of Health and Welfare, Chen Shizhong, thinks that labeling the place of origin would be enough. It might be another controversial issue. C. Why did the announcement of the guidelines for imports of U.S. pork come out today? I think there are 3 reasons. First, President Tsai announced that the import of the U.S. pork with Ractopamine will be implemented on January 1st, 2021, and they're less than 40 days now. Also, the Premier Su Chang has been unable to go to the legislative yuan to answer interpellations for 12 times. Therefore, the government is eager to gain the trust of the people. Second, according to the poll, there are over 60% of Taiwanese people oppose the import of U.S. pork with Ractopamine. The government wants to do something to convince them. Third, the ruling party, DPP, doesn't want the import of U.S. pork to become political assets for KMT. Apparently, the opposition party KMT used these as an excuse to start protests, but actually what they did was aiming at warming up for the 2022 election. D. The import of U.S. pork is also related to the U.S. presidential election. Why? Because the Trump administration and Taiwan government might reach a concept to import U.S. pork to Taiwan and then discuss the bilateral trade agreement, BTA. What Taiwan would like to do now is to implement the imports of U.S. pork with Ractopamine on January 1st, 2021, and then start the BTA talk as soon as possible. We know that Chinese President Xi Jinping congratulated Joe Biden on being elected as U.S. president yesterday and expressed that China would like to work with the U.S. Remember, Xi Jinping also said that China wants to go and wants to join the CPTPP on November 20th. So this is like a competition between Taiwan and China. China just used one China policy to block Taiwan from joining RCEP, and now Taiwan tried to join CPTPP, yet China said that they want to join too. Therefore, Taiwan has to speed up the U.S.-Taiwan bilateral talk. And that is why the U.S. pork issue has to be solved as soon as possible. Here are the top stories. Today, we have 2 confirmed cases. They are both imported cases. One is from the United States, and the other is from Indonesia. First, I want to talk about China threatens to blacklist Taiwan independent supporters. Spokeswoman for China's Taiwan Affairs Office, Zhu Fenglian, said that the list of die-hard Taiwan secessionists now under consideration, Beijing would take target steps to severely punish, in accordance with the law, those it viewed as hardcore backers of independence. And the spokesperson of Taiwan Mainland Affairs Council, Chiu Chui-zhen, rebutted that making this kind of blacklist to threaten Taiwan will only infuriate Taiwanese people. At the same time, we know that Chinese President Xi Jinping congratulated Biden on winning the election yesterday. Xi Jinping said that, "I hope to see both sides uphold the spirit of non-conflict, non-confrontations, mutual respect, and win-win cooperations, and focus on cooperations while managing and controlling disputes." However, we know that in 2016, Xi Jinping congratulated Trump on winning the election with 216 votes, and now there were only 105 votes when he congratulated Joe Biden. In addition, President Tsai is confident on maintaining good relations with Washington. And she said that Taiwan and the United States share the common values of freedom and democracy and are committed to, persevering peace and enhancing prosperity in the region. As I mentioned in the beginning, the import of U.S. pork with Ractopamine is one of the important issues related to Taiwan-U.S. relations. Taiwan Premier Su Zhenchang announced the 5 rules for the imports of U.S. pork with Ractopamine, and he said that in order for Taiwanese people to quell their doubts about the import pork with Ractopamine, the government decided to review the rules more strictly and carefully regarding the issue. On the other hand, I want to talk about the ranking of countries handling the COVID-19 pandemic in the world. Taiwan was ranked number 3. Why is that? I think Taiwan should be number 1. Let me tell you the reason later. But according to Bloomberg, they slide Taiwan with 3rd place pandemic ranking. There are 3 reasons for that. Well, they are all phrased about Taiwan. First, Taiwan implements strict borders control from the beginning of the pandemic. Second, Taiwan has not seen a local infections for more than 200 days. And third, Taiwan never had to implement a single lockdown. Well, the reason Taiwan is number 3 instead of number 1 is because Taiwan has less access to the COVID-19 vaccine categories. I don't think that is fair, because how to access the vaccine or how many vaccines Taiwan can get are not up to Taiwan. Also, Director of the AIT office, Brent Christensen, said that owing to the unique position Taiwan holds, the U.S. is looking forward to building stronger supply chain by continuing working with Taiwan. For the U.S. presidential transition, Trump pardoned former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. Trump wrote on his Twitter and said that, "It's my great honor to announce that General Michael T. Flynn has been granted a full pardon. Congratulations to Flynn and his wonderful family. I know you will all have a truly fantastic Thanksgiving." But we know that former U.S. National Security Advisor Michael Flynn was accused of contacting with the Russia officials in 2016, and he lied about it. But later, he pled guilty to lying to the FBI about having contact with Russia in 2017, and now Trump just pardoned him. As to the U.S. presidential election, Rudy Giuliani said that Biden opposes American first, instead Communist China first. Rudy Giuliani wrote on Twitter and said, "Well, Biden opposes American first, so who is first? Obviously, it will be Communist China first. CCP paid the Biden crime family millions for what position, and who's second, Ukraine or Kazakhstan, Russia, or a non-contributor?" In addition, Trump is highly interested in joining the Pennsylvania state election lawsuit hearing. President Trump full remark at the Pennsylvania state Senate hearing on massive voter fraud in the 2020 election. Well, in the end, I want to tell you that in defense to military threats from China, NCSIST 中山科学研究院 aims at focusing on the development of missiles. We know that Taiwan is working on developing a variety of missiles as the Chinese threats grow lately. We know that those missiles can reach to 500 kilometers, and they will reach the coastal cities of China. And that will be the view for today. And this is Catherine Chang from Taipei. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.